What's going on, guys? This is Charlotte EAS 704, and I'm going to do an updated weather radio collection as of August 2021. The last time I did a collection video was back in March when I had a total of 9 weather radios. Since then, I have collected a total of 6, which has been pretty good, considering the fact that I racked up a bunch of alerts on just those 9 alone. So we'll get right into it. The radio that started the entire thing was the 08500 RX. Back in 2012, I had this guy. At first, it was a very reliable radio. It still is. It works perfectly. I got this one on June 6th, 2012. My dad got it for me and called it the family radio. Well, I eventually inherited it, of course, since nobody wanted it. The only issue that I have with the radio is just the scroll is very annoying. So if you're going through the menu and trying to get through all the setup options, you have to wait for that scroll, which can take like 3 to 5 seconds, so it's kind of annoying. It's what started it all. I've gotten a ton of alerts on this guy, and it's only set for my county, Mecklenburg, North Carolina. It's a very reliable radio, and I would recommend it. Not a lot of collectors really have this radio because they don't like it very much, and I can understand why, but as my very first radio, it has a special place in my heart to start off this collection. The next weather radio is probably the most common you'll ever see, the Midland Wr-120. This is the EZ, not the 120B, but the EZ. Again, this one I got on July 25th, 2015. Very reliable radio. This radio has not failed me at all on a single alert. It is activated every single time for an SVR, flash flood warning, flash flood watch, flood watch, whatever. It is activated every single time. I mean, everyone that has a collection probably has one of these. It is the most common radio you can find. I mean, almost not every household, but many households have this weather radio. And I gotta tell you, the alert test on this thing is blisteringly loud, but it's not as loud as some of the other radios I have on this table. So I'm gonna play it. It's a pretty unique siren. It's the only one of its kind, and overall, it's a very reliable radio, and I was racking up years of EAS alerts just on 2 radios, these 2 radios over here, for a couple years. And then 2 years later, on Christmas 2016, I got the Midland Wr300 version 5. And the Wr300 version 5 is also a good DXing radio, even though I do not do DXing. Hardly at all. I usually just grab the alerts on my local channel, Channel 4, which is WXL70, based in Spencer Mountain in Rainlow, North Carolina. This radio, again, has never failed me once. It's activated for everything.
It was 73 degrees and cloudy.
Again, the siren test is the same as the Wr100 over here, except it's louder. And I know now on Amazon they're selling version 8s, which has an even more high-pitched siren. It also has AM and FM, like I said, for good DXing. So if you want to go to different channels to pick up different alerts, you can go to the radio, find a station, get an alert, pretty easy like that. Very easygoing radio, very easy to use. These are pretty, I wouldn't say they're expensive. They're about $50 on Amazon. You can get them used for about $30, $35 on eBay. They're pretty good overall. I mean, I would recommend this radio greatly, strongly recommend it. Most collectors have the Wr300 just because of how iconic it truly is. It will never let you down in an emergency. The next radio is my least favorite. That would be this one, that portable Accurate radio you see right there. That one has a dead speaker. The speaker does not work. It died about a year ago. Sometime last year in the fall, it died. I noticed it was having problems because it was becoming more high-pitched over time, and now it's completely gone. Now, it will activate for alerts, and that's another one that's only set to Mecklenburg County. Same with the 08500RX. That radio is just set to Mecklenburg County only. I mean, it's an okay weather radio. Again, it has the same scroll issue as the 08500RX, but overall, it's just okay. I would get an HH over that overall, but it's a mediocre radio. The alert tone is the exact same loud beep for a warning. It does not. The other issue with these Accurate radios is they do not tone. Well, they tone them, but there's no siren for a watcher and advisor. There is for a warning. It's just a very loud beep, but nothing for a watch and advisor, which is really disappointing by Accurate, to be honest. The next radio is going to be a pretty nice one. The Recom R1630C. I know there's an A version of this as well that has AM and FM, but I'm like, it has the same kind of menu. There's no purpose in me getting a radio that's $20 more expensive that's going to sound the same and all that.
Highs around 80.
This radio came out in about 2008 to 2009. Even before that, some of these versions existed. This is fantastic weather radio. It, again, has gone off for every single alert that I've received since November. I got this one on November 12th, 2020. Very reliable. This is what the siren test sounds like. It also has advisory and watch sirens as well.
Chance of rain 70%. Thursday, partly sunny.
It's a pretty loud siren. It's a pretty good radio. I can pick up quite a couple channels with this guy. There are not very many downsides with this, except for the very flimsy antenna. You got to be very careful about these antennas. They can break pretty dang easily. Overall, very nice radio. If you're a collector, I would definitely recommend it. The next weather radio is by far the most iconic one you'll find. The Midland Wr-100. A radio just as reliable, if not more, than the 120 back of its time. Fortunately, they discontinued it back in 2011. Overall, it's fantastic. I mean, the 100 is truly iconic in the EAS community. One of my absolute favorites. I got this one on February 1st, 2021. It is activated for about 90, I'd say 80% of its alerts. It has sometimes not activated for warnings. And for the last 2 weekly tests, it has not activated for some strange reason. Could be the signal, but the signal from WXL70 is pretty darn good. I don't understand. The alert test is very similar to the 300. Pretty loud siren. You can almost never hear it when it goes off because all the other radios overpower it. But overall, fantastic.
Areas that receive multiple rounds of heavy rainfall. Spotter information statement, none. This is the NOAA Weather Radio, all hazards, WXL70.
But yeah, and it goes off 80% of the time. It has, the menu is very easy on this guy to set up. There's a few options. It's a very easy going radio. I mean, I would recommend picking up a WR100 for anybody. I mean, version 5s, they have the death squeal. This is a version 4, and I made sure to give it a version 4. And you can tell by that older NOAA logo and the public alert. Now, the version 2s and 1s do not have that public alert logo right there. So this is a version 4. I was looking for a version 3, but I just picked up a version 4 and just didn't really want to get another one. So that's basically it. WR100, very reliable. Definitely recommend it. Next radio is not the most common anymore. It's the Radio Shack 12-991. And again, this one has gone off every single time. I picked this one up in late April. It was April 27th on that historic outbreak of 2011. It was on that day, on that anniversary, I picked this dang thing up. It was the only one I saw on eBay at the time, so I made sure to buy it as soon as I saw it. It's again very reliable, and the siren has a wee. It sounds like an emergency vehicle coming down the street. It's a loud siren, too, on volume 10. The only problem I have with the 991, besides the Accurites, is the fact that it does not have a menu select button. It just has a select button you hold down for about 5 seconds, and then you go through the menu. It's honestly really annoying. I mean, it's an annoying thing. I don't know why the heck they didn't implicate a freaking menu button, but that's just the way it goes. The menu overall is pretty easy to understand. It's not complicated. And this radio, against the red logo, which is a newer version, I think these versions came out in 2013. But overall, I mean, the signal's fantastic out of this thing.
Humid with highs in the upper 80s. East winds around 5 miles an hour.
No static noise in the back, crisp, clear. It'll activate from the crisp headers out of WXL70 of an alert. Very reliable radio. I recommend that solemnly for anybody who wants to buy it. Anybody. If you can find one of these, pick it up. I mean, seriously, it's a great one. All right, next one, San GNCO 100. Another great DXing radio, even though I barely do that. I mainly just focus. I've captured 100 EASs this year off of WXL70, which is pretty good. Last year, over 300, but I was not capturing EAS last year. I barely did. So now this is kind of a newer thing for me, but I've captured over 100 this year, which is very nice. Another great DXing radio, and again, this radio has the loudest siren of them all. It is absolutely deafening. On high mode, has a low, medium, and high. The speaker is very good.
Chance of rain 90%. Tuesday night, rain likely until midnight. Then a chance of rain.
And again, in the menu, it's a pretty simple menu. You have the alarm, clock, tone, siren level. That's middle. High mode is absolutely deafening. You'll deafen your ears with that. It's a county code. So it's, again, very simple to set up. And again, it has AM and FM capabilities as well. So if you want a DX, it's a very good radio to do that with. And again, it has not failed me once. It has gone off for every single alert that GSP in Raleigh has issued since I got it. I got this one in May of this year. And it has been probably one of the best radios on this table, period. It's one of the best ones. All right, next radio is the HH54VP. And I didn't get the VP2, I got the VP. I got this one off of Amazon as well. This is probably the best portable radio you could possibly buy. The Radio Shacks are good. They even have rechargeable batteries. This one does as well for the VP2. I got the VP, which just takes double A's. But I would say this is the best handheld weather radio that is out there. And it's by Midland, and it's fantastic. I mean, this is a radio I will take with me to the beach. I'll take it to me on vacation when my family goes. It's fantastic. Here's the alert test. It's not the loudest alarm, but it definitely is pretty good.
This weather is not expected at this time. And now the extended outlook for the period Sunday through Friday.
Again, with this radio, it hasn't failed me once. Now, I picked up this radio in December of 2020, so right around Christmas time is when I got it. And hasn't failed me one time. It's gone off for every alert that GSP and Raleigh has issued. And again, if you want a portable handheld weather radio that's going to get you places, that one is the one to get. That'll get you alerts on the go. It is perfect. I mean, there's no other radio I'd recommend more than that one right there. The Radio Shacks are good, but I think the HH54VP is definitely the best one that you could buy as a portable radio. All right, next radio is the AlertWorks EAR10. I picked this guy up on Halloween of last year. And I'm telling you, this one's really nice. Again, picked up just about every alert that has been issued by Raleigh or GSP. Here's the alert test. Loud alert test, and a very unique one. I like the way the alert tone sounds on this radio. And it's the same for warning, watch, and advisory. It'd be cool if it was different, but I'm not going to complain. Again, the menu is very simple as well. And it picks up a fantastic signal, again, out of WXL70.
Chance of rain 70%. Sunday night, mostly cloudy.
I recommend that one. These sell for about $30 to $40 on eBay, sometimes more. But used, you could easily get one for $30. and I got the EAR10. There's the black one and there was the white one. I was looking for the black one, and they didn't have them on Amazon, so I just got one off of Amazon, brand new instead of used. So that one, highly recommend it. And the warning watch and advisory lights are very bright, so you can see what alert you've gotten compared to like some of the other radios I have where the lights are very dim. It's very nice radio. It will not fail you once. It'll go off for about all of its alerts if you have a good signal. That's if you have a good signal, though. Even with a bad signal, it can still go off. But very good radio. The next radio is an iffy one. The 262, 12-262. I picked this one up on February 6th, 2021 this year. And this was my 9th radio. And overall, it goes off for, I'd say, 70% of its alerts. Sometimes it will go off, sometimes it won't, and I don't understand it. The signal is beautiful.
Highs in the lower 80s. Chance of rain 70%.
It's a very reliable radio. Now, age could be the problem. The tuner and the buttons work perfectly fine. I know people have had issues with the tuner and the buttons in the past, but this one does a good job. Again, fantastic job. I have the alert reminder and alert mode. Again, the only issue, I wish they had a display mode on this thing in case you want to go to sleep without having this thing wake you up at 2 a.m. at night, like what GSP does. GSP did that to me last night with a flash flood warning at 2 a.m. for Cabarrus, and it really scared me. Same with Raleigh, 2 SVRs. Scared the crap out of me. And anyway, set alerts. You can even do alert blocking on this thing, which is what somewhat these other radios have. Good amount of radios nowadays that are newer have alert blocking. And the location, so you can have single, multiple, and any. I have it on any because I want to pick up as many alerts as possible. Signal reminder, in case your signal's gone bad or if you're not having a good signal, you can get a reminder, so it'll give you a little beep. And the alert reminder, when you receive an alert, it'll do a little beep as well. Now, the alert test, this is I have it maxed on volume 16. It's pretty darn loud. 262. This is an older version 262, made in 2007. How you can tell is the box. This was a purple and yellow box, which is the older version, which came out in about 2007, 2006. Newest version is about 2008. Pick one of these guys up. Cannot guarantee you it's going to go off because it is an older version, and these things do wear out quickly. Their tuners, I've heard, and their buttons go out pretty fast. But overall, it's a pretty good radio. I mean, it's gone off. It goes off more than it doesn't, but for me, sometimes it's failed me sometimes. Usually on a big EAS day, it'll go off pretty much every time, but other than that, good radio. I would recommend it. Next radio is it is a common radio, but it's basically a ripoff of the Max Digital, and it's my last radio I'm probably getting that I got, the Capello CR2W. And it has AM and FM, which is pretty cool. This is a radio that not a lot of collectors really want. And 95% of the reason is it's a ripoff, more or less a ripoff of the Max Digital, which is not a super common radio to begin with. And 2, the display on this thing will go bad fast, I've heard. I've watched videos about the display and how it dies really fast. So far, because I got this one, I got it used, but it was like new, whatever, had barely been used, the owner said. So the display right now is all right. And it's a pretty dim display, to be honest. Again, the setup is very similar, and the button beeps sound eerily similar to a WR100, doesn't it? But besides that, and since I got it last week, it's been going off consistently for the last 27 alerts I've gotten in the last 5 days. So it's been pretty good. The signal's good as well.
Degrees and cloudy. At 11 p.m., the remnants of Frederick were located near latitude 23.
Overall, pretty good radio. Capello CR2W. I mean, if you want it, knock yourself out. Most people won't get it. I got it because it was a reasonable radio at a reasonable price, and it seemed like a pretty reliable radio. Even though it's a ripoff of the Max Digital, I didn't care. I picked it up anyway just to test it out, and so far so good. It's been treating me well. It's a fairly reasonable radio, and they're not that expensive either. The next radio is another very reliable one, and basically the upgraded version of the 262 is the 521. And the 521, honestly, is better by a mile than the 262. It has newer technology, and it receives alerts basically every single time. I think that the technology they implemented is a little bit newer. The tuner is a little questionable, but maybe newer. The only thing that doesn't make any sense, look at the menu select button in the middle of the 262 right there. Do you notice a problem? They removed the menu select button and separated it. So now instead of hitting menu select, you have to go over here and hit select, and also the menu is different. Instead of going up and down to scroll through the menu, you do side to side, which is completely counterintuitive to the 262's menu buttons. That's the only strange part about this dang thing, but it's set up the same way, except this has an alert volume day and night, so you can set the alert volume depending on how loud you want it in the day or the night. The language, set alerts, same code, signal reminder, alert reminder, all that fun jazz. Very similar to the 262. Again, the alert tone is the same as the 262.
Showers likely with a chance of thunderstorms. Humid with highs in the mid-80s.
And again, overall, I think I would get this radio over the 262. I would get the 521 over the 262 if possible. I like the 262, but the 262 doesn't go off for all of its alerts. So the 521 will, if the tuner doesn't die. And so far the buttons are okay and the tuner's okay since I got this one back. I got this one back in June, and so far so good. It's been working pretty dang well. It was the only one I saw on eBay of its time, so it's a bit of a... It's now becoming more rare. They used to be a lot more common, but now they're becoming a little bit more rare to find. But they are findable, and if you get one of these radios, please do. It's a fantastic radio for a collector or just some guy who wants a weather radio just to get alerts. It's fantastic. The next radio is the Midland 200, which is an old-timer. Not quite as old as some of the other ones that I've seen, but this one was made in 1999. I think it's a version 6, 200. The 200 has not let me down either. It's missed a couple of alerts, probably because of the alert off button I've pressed. Overall, it's a pretty solid brick of a radio.
Mostly cloudy. Showers and thunderstorms likely until midnight.
The speaker is not the best of quality. All right, I'll give it that. The speaker, it sounds like it's going to explode at a higher volume, but it's pretty good. The menu buttons are very strange. The way they set this thing up. I mean, it's very weird. I mean, it's confusing at first, but once when you get it, it's not as bad. It is a bit confusing, the menu buttons on this thing. It's a big brick that will go off pretty much every time if you have a decent signal. I mean, it's gone off for the weekly tests and the warnings that I've gotten the last couple of days. Speaking of warnings, this recom is maxed out. Look at this. Not one RWT you're going to see in this area here. Not a single RWT. Not one. 25 alerts. It's maxed out. I've gotten over 27 to 28 in the last 4 days because of pulse storms in the state. North Carolina's been getting pretty good storms the last couple of days. Unexpected TSTM risks. And it's been honestly pretty good. Today I received 10 alerts on WXL70. Captured 5. I missed a couple. But besides that, it's been overall pretty good. Again, that radio's been activating every time. 200. If you want to get it, go for it. It's not a bad radio at all. Pretty reliable. It will not let you down. It's an older one, and the menu's a little bit confusing, that's to say the least. The last radio. Mixed feelings about this one. The Eton Zone Guard Plus. The possessed brick, they call it, in the EAS community. And oh, possessed is it ever. And it's 2 little alert modules over here. The weird thing about the damn Zone Guard is when it's silenced, it will not activate for an alert. It has to be on. The voice has to be heard, and the EAS tones must be received while the radio is on for it to activate. I've experimented with this multiple times. When there's an RWT and it's silenced, it will not go off. If there is a flash flood warning, it will not go off if it is silenced, or a severe thunderstorm warning. It has to be on. And I've gone through the settings, I've looked through it, and I don't understand it. But it has to be on, which is not a big deal, but if I'm sleeping, you might as well have this thing go off. The 2 alert modules are very nice to have. They add a whole nother siren to the collection. So it's overall a very nice radio. However, the thing won't shut up half the time. It has that freaking 2 different tone alert thingamabobber where it has the main, it sounds like the original Zone Guard, and it has that ear rape kind of, it's pretty, it's alert siren is not great. Not great. I'd probably get the original Zone Guard over that one, to be honest, even though it's the newer version. Oh, the newer version, and it's not as good as the original. It annoys me. The other problem is if you unplug it and plug it back in, it does not keep the settings like some of these other radios do. It will go back to tone. Now, I've had it happen before where it's received an alert and it's on tone and it keeps playing the siren for like 4 minutes with these 2 modules going off, and it's loud as heck. So you have to reprogram the whole thing all over again, which is annoying. But I mean, it works. It'll go off. It's a newer radio. So, and it also has AM and FM, which is pretty nice. The overall signal of this thing, and I did break the antenna on the first day. Yeah, it fell off the table and it bent in half. It was a pain in the butt. Only a couple of antennas I've had it broke. The 120's tip broke, and the 08500 RX antenna completely broke, and I retaped it on there. And these antennas are very fragile. Very fragile, but the overall signal is still pretty good. I'm not going to lie.
Highs around 80. Chance of rain 90%. Observations for the western Piedmont.
I can pick up channel 5.
Noon.
There's
Highs in the upper
KJY85.
80s.
WXL 42. And WXJ21 right there. And then KHC 27 on channel 2. So that one could pick up quite a few channels. Even with a broken antenna. I know with a more extended antenna it would work. But that's pretty much it. That is my collection. As of August 2021, I've collected a total of 6 weather radios. And that, well, the collection has to end somewhere. And 15, as much as I'd love to collect a 12-519 and a Midland Wr-100, I have to end it here. My parents will not let me buy anymore. And they say it's kind of stupid, but honestly, I don't think it's stupid because I am tracking alerts in my area. So if this is a fun way to do it, nobody really has to have a collection like this at all if they don't want it. It's not a necessity at all. I mean, 1 or 2 radios is absolutely fine. I pick up quite a couple channels on these guys. I only pick up mainly 2 good, strong channels. These are the channels in North Carolina. I make sure to have them on my wall. Same with my local station, WXL 70, which covers a total of 17 different counties. I can pick up, again, WXL 70, Charlotte, KJY 85, WXL 56, WXJ 21, WNG 538, WNG 588, and WXL 42 I can pick up. I can only pick up a couple of those channels, but all of those channels, 1 through 7, are on, I can get on these radios. So, overall, it was, I think my collection is practically done. These radios receive alerts, and I tell you what, 15 radios. I remember 9. I thought 9 was loud. 15? I mean, you get all of these radios to go off on max volume as far as siren level. It is blisteringly loud. Very, very loud. I mean, you come in my room and hear these guys going off. My dad came in here earlier today, and it went off, and he left the room immediately because of how loud it was. So, they're very loud. Now, cool thing about my house is that the layout allows my parents to sleep without these guys waking up. Without them waking up to these radios. Now, I don't care if I get waken up by them because honestly, I get a documented alert that way. And GSP likes to pull freaking surprise SVRs at midnight. Same with Raleigh. They both did it the other night. It was very annoying, but pretty good. I mean, there's no other radios, that I can collect. Even though I'd want like a couple more, I cannot get any more. So 15 is the cap limit. I almost said it was 10, but honestly 15 is perfectly fine with me. They all work, and I'd say getting a perfect activation is not very common. I get it about 60% of the time, all of them going off for a Mecklenburg County alert. But overall, they mostly do their job, these radios. They do a very good job. And I'd recommend any one of them. If you're a new collector, if you just want one radio, just pick one of them up. They'll work. Anyway, that's all I have to say. I hope y'all enjoyed my video. And I hope y'all in the EAS community like this video. And subscribe to my channel for more EAS content from Charlotte and WXL 70.